Let's begin by putting the car in neutral, setting the parking brake, and then turning off the car. That's it. Next step, go ahead and pull this down. So you have access to the little clip here. Pull the clip out. Make sure it doesn't get lost. And then you can pull the shift knob out. I would put the clip back on so that way it doesn't get lost. And set it aside. Next, we'll remove this rubber piece. Go ahead and lift it up from here. It's got three points where it's being held in. And once you've lifted it up from here, it has three notches behind. So you're gonna need to lift this rubber piece, kind of lift it up gently up, push it in so it can get loose, and then you'll be able to pull it out. So I'll demonstrate. Out. Just gotta do one more. Here are those three notches. So again, you just want to make sure that they don't rip. That's why you push it in so it can come loose, and then you're able to pull this out. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and lift this up, set it aside, and we're going to remove these two panels right here. So go ahead and begin by pulling these panels out from this area. They just pull straight out. You don't need to remove them completely because they're secured by a screw here and another screw right here. So let me also remove this one here. And then once you kind of loosen them, then you're able to lift this panel up. Once you lifted this panel up, you can see the two screws. One's there and one's over there. So with the screwdriver, go ahead and loosen them. Don't take them off completely, just loosen them. And then this can easily come out. Just set this aside. Same thing with this side. Loosen the screw. Pull this out. And then for this guy, again, you don't need to take it completely out. Just undo the connector here and you can set it aside. And by the way, earlier I was talking about those notches. This is what the rubber piece is holding on to. So that's why the rubber piece being on it, you want to push it in so it can get loose, and then you'll be able to pull it out. Next up, I'm going to remove the panel down here. So just put your hands in there. It pulls straight out towards you. Once you do that, disconnect it here. And just set this aside. Next up, remove this panel here before the below the radio panel. This piece just pulls out straight towards you. Pulls straight towards you like that. Next up, once you remove that, it'll expose 2 screws, one here and one over there. Go ahead and remove these 2 screws. That's one. That's 2. And then once you remove those 2 screws, you'll be able to take this panel off. This panel is secured by this connector right here. You just need to disconnect it. That's it.
Real quick.
Next up, we have 2 screws, one right there, and another one on this side, hiding behind here, right there. You're gonna need to remove these 2 screws so you can remove this panel. That's one. Let's do the second one. I can't see. There's 2. And then we can remove the panel. There's just going to be one connector going to it. Disconnect that, and you have freed the panel. Next, we're going to remove this screw so we can lift out this, pull out this panel right here. Comes out like that. And then when you're pulling this out, it's pretty firmly in here. Try to pull it out from this side first and then work your way over here. Sometimes the air vents may come loose as you're pulling it out. In this case it didn't, but if it did, just secure the air vent back on. But this is how this piece would come out. Next up, go ahead and remove the monitor. 2 screws are securing it. 1 and 2. You can go ahead and pull out the monitor. You're going to find several connectors behind it. Go ahead and undo those. Some models may have additional plugs right here, but this one doesn't have it. Just undo these guys. But again, as you're disconnecting them, be mindful of where they connected to. These are color coded, so you're not going to lose them. Next up, let's pull out the radio unit. We're not going to disconnect it completely because there's only one connector that we need to disconnect from it. But just go ahead and pull it out. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws underneath. So let's go ahead and begin removing those. 1, 2. 3. 4. and 4. Be careful with the radio unit itself. Set something underneath it to protect the panels around it and the leather trim. Pull it out forward and just rest it on the protector here. Again, we're just going to be working with one cable, so we'll come back to it when we're ready to connect everything. Now we're going to work with the screen. I already put a screen protector on just so we have no issues with the screen. It came off of this, so if you're wondering what this was in the box, it's a screen protector for the screen. Let's go ahead and begin. We're going to take off the bracket back here. Just remember the position of the bracket on the screen. Don't put it on backwards when you're reassembling everything. So go ahead and remove 4 screws. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. Those aside, and then we can remove the bracket, set that aside. Next we have a bunch of screws to remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So go ahead and remove all of those. When you're removing the screws here on the side, this bracket comes off. Just remember how it goes back on. You can set that aside. Okay, now that you have all of those removed, if you have the screen positioned this way, we have a fan right here where it's connected. So when you gently pry this open, pry it up from this side first and bring it over this way so you can disconnect the fan. Whoops, I forgot. There's 4 more screws in here. Hold that note. Okay. So again, when you're prying this up, do it from this side first. Here is the fan. Go ahead and disconnect it. And you can put this aside. So here we have 3 ribbon cables that we have to undo. 1, 2, and 3. Use your fingers to undo the clips. Don't use any tools. This tab lifts up like that. And you can pull this one out. This one right here, this one you want to pull straight up gently. And then you can pull this ribbon cable out. And lastly, this one. This tab pulls up. And you can pull this guy out. Let's take off that screw. And Next, it's up to you. Regarding this is the Bluetooth antenna right here. You can take it off, disconnect it, or you can leave it on and just lift up the board and fold it over like that, so it's easier for you. But for you today, I'll just go ahead and take it off so we can remember it. It just lifts up like that, and then you can remove the whole board completely if you do it that way. Just remember, the Bluetooth antenna will need to be reconnected again once you're done. Next up, we're going to install the subboard. So I'll do this first. Go ahead and install this ribbon cable here. Lift this one up. Grab your ribbon cable. Remember, the blue side needs to be facing up. So just go ahead and insert it in here. Clip it down. That's what it's going to look like. Next, go ahead and put this cover underneath right here, just so it's already in here. Next, we're going to install this ribbon cable into here. So lift this one up and then insert this guy in here and then push down, and then that's what it's going to look like. Once you've got those in, let me undo these real quick. If these are not already installed on your board, make sure you do that before you connect the ribbon cables. It just makes it easier. Let me do this one too. If you're having to connect these cables yourself, this guy with the orange, green, and black goes here. Next is the 6-pin. Make sure the 6-pin is connected all the way in so that the notches can line up with the hole. And then last is this 3-pin, red, blue, and black. It connects to this port right here. So if you have to make those connections, go ahead and do them, but they sometimes are already put in for you. So just keep that in mind. So let's route this ribbon cable in through here. I would go ahead and connect this one now. So lift this tab here. Insert the ribbon cable. And then when you're inserting, just push it in as far in as it goes. Let me position it this way. And then clip it down. I don't think that that's a good connection, so I'm going to retry to do it again. It needs to be further in. There you go. The line has to match up with the tab right here. Okay, and then go ahead and secure the board now. Use these plastic rivets that come with the kit. And then you can put these guys on. 1, 2, and 3. Now with those guys in, go ahead and connect the last ribbon cable. Again, remember, blue side facing up. Last ribbon cable is going to go in here. Push it in as much as you can. The notches are going to line up. And then clip down. And that's what it's going to look like. So let's go ahead and reassemble everything here. We're going to grab our OEM board. I'm gonna put it in place. Let's reconnect this Bluetooth antenna before we forget it. Line it up or route it so it's not interfering with anything. And then let's just go ahead and screw it in for now. So this is the important part. We need to reconnect these ribbon cables back in. So this one, blue side facing up, goes into this port right here. Again, the notches are going to help you line it up and clip it down. So that's what it's going to look like. Let's work with this one next. This one, I'll fold it just gently so we can insert it in here. You can kind of feel when it goes in, when you push it down to secure it. That's what it's gonna look like. You should just have this amount of blue coming out. You can kind of see the dotted lines inside. You can see that they're lining up with the tab. And then lastly, this guy. This guy also, you can kind of feel it go in all the way and then secure it down. That's what it's going to look like. So let's go ahead and put the board back up here again. These cables we're going to route here. I would fold it like this. This one right here, fold it that way, and this guy just have over here like that. We're gonna grab the back plate. Remember to plug the fan back in. Like that. And then gently, as you're putting this over, be sure that this doesn't pinch this cable or these cables right here. Gently bring it over, and then as you're securing it down, take a look here. Make sure that these cables are routed in such a way where it doesn't get pinched as this back plate is going in. The best test for this is once you have it, once you have the back plate back on, be sure that you can tug on it. That will tell you that the cables aren't being pinched. So let's just go ahead and put on some screws just to secure the back plate. Okay. Now let's route these cables here. So remember, we folded this cable right here. We want it to come out here, and these two cables are just gonna fold over like that. So that way, when you put this on, they're exiting in such a manner that they're not getting damaged. There's enough space for them to go back on. Let's go ahead and put some screws on so we can secure this as well. right, there we go. So again, you can see that these cables aren't being pinched or anything like that. You just want to make sure of that, but that's how these cables come out through here. Go ahead and put the rest of the screws back on. You should be good to go with the screen. We'll put it on the bracket. Generally tells you which way it's supposed to go. Up, it's that way. And we're done with the screen. Now we're going to connect this. This is the DCU main cable. We're going to go ahead and connect it. I would go ahead and route this guy underneath here. Pull it up. Like that. And then before I connect it, since I'm on the subject, we have this key connector right here. This is not needed for this car, so you can ignore it, tape it up, whatever you want to do with it, but it's not needed for this car. So just letting you know. Pulling this out right here, we have the two connectors that connected to the monitor here. This guy is going to connect right here. Make sure it's in there, and then apply foam tape. Next is the CarPlay mic cable. This guy, go ahead and connect it here. To the second connector behind the monitor. Apply foam tape. It's important that you apply the foam tapes because there is going to be background noise picked up on these cables if you don't. So make sure you do that. And then route this cable down. Through with the other cables. Again, remember, you don't use the key, so just wrap it up and tape it up. You don't need it at all. Just get it out of the way. Next we have the monitor. Go ahead and route these cables that are coming out of the monitor down behind. So it's two cables. Go ahead and pull them through. So they could be with these cables right here. And then go ahead and start connecting everything back to the original monitor. We had the 2 cables down here, blue and black. And then go ahead and connect our cables to the monitor. There you go. And then go ahead and tuck all these cables back behind here so you can remount the monitor. I wouldn't screw it in completely yet. Just put those in to hold it because you may need to realign the monitor depending on the bezel. So when you put the bezel back on, you'll be able to realign the monitor. Next, we're gonna install the iPod harness. This one goes behind the cable. It's behind the radio. It's the only one that goes behind the radio. So again, there's no need to disconnect all of the connectors here. So all you have to do really is disconnect this guy right here, and then disconnect this one right here. Connect our cable to this one. Apply foam tape to it. And then connect this guy here, and then reconnect this guy right here. I will let you know, I do advise you not to disconnect the entire radio because some of these connectors are the same. Like this one for the climate fits into this one right here. They may be accidentally swapped. That's why it is important that I advise you not to disconnect all of the cables. Just disconnect this one so you have access to this one, and you can connect the iPod cable here, and then you can reconnect everything back together. Next up, we're gonna route these cables down into the kick panel area over here. So what I will do is I'll go ahead and open this guy up. You don't need to completely undo it. You just want to have access to the cable so they can come out through here. So let's go ahead and route some of these cables through. Start with this one. Actually, before I do that, it might be simpler if I tape them all together. But I want to make sure that these cables are not interfering with any other cables. So just be mindful of that. And it might be better that these cables go behind these other harnesses right here so they're not in the way. So let me go ahead and route them behind. you have them pulled through. Let's go ahead and route them down. You can do one by one. I'm going to do one by one for now. But if you'd like, you can also tape them all up together to make it faster for you. I'll just show one cable as an example. So this is where the cables are going to end up, down here. So with these other cables, go ahead and do the same. You're going to want all of these cables to go down there. Next up, we'll install we'll route the CarPlay USB cable. This is for customers to connect their phone to. Regardless if it's wired or wireless kit, make sure this is accessible to the customer so they can connect their phone for a wired connection. This is for a speaker, so you can connect the speaker here. This is a speaker right here. I generally put foam tape around it. Like that. But for now, let's go ahead and route this down as well. Once it's routed through, this USB cable, you're gonna want to make it come routed down behind everything so it can come out through the rubber tray. I'll show that in a separate video, but for now I'm just gonna go ahead and route it down behind all these other cables. And I'm gonna put it through underneath so it comes out through here. And with that end done, we can go ahead and position the radio back on. We don't need this anymore. Once you have the radio position back up where it's supposed to go, you can go ahead and screw in the 4 screws. With the radio back on and the 4 screws on, go ahead and just mount the speaker. I generally just put the speaker right here. Just position it there. And then we have this USB cable coming out from underneath. We're gonna route this through where the tray area goes. This is our CarPlay module. We're gonna go ahead and connect the cables that we routed through into here. And then once done, we'll just position the CarPlay module in here. There's enough space for it, so I'll demonstrate. So let's go ahead and connect these cables first. Let's connect the mic cable here. The CarPlay USB cable in this port right here. Don't worry about that port, that's for an optional iKnob. iKnob is not compatible with this car. Next we have the iPod harness. Here. We have the UART cable connecting here. And then you have power cable connecting to this port right here. Pull on all the cables, make sure they're properly connected. Next we'll work on the top row. Find the LVDS, goes there. The sub data cable goes here, and then finally the main trip cable goes here. Now with those cables all connected, let's go ahead and position this module behind in this empty area right here.
Let me find a better place for it. There we go. Now that you have the module positioned in here, you can go ahead and close this back up.
Go ahead and remove the screen protector. You can put this bezel back on. And with it positioned that way, go ahead and we can go ahead and secure these screws right here. We can tighten them. But again, you want to make sure that the screen is aligned with the bezel. So you may need to push up on it with the upward force to have it in the right position. That's as far up as it goes. So now we've put these panels back on. This is loosely in here, so we can put these panels back on right here. The USB cable is gonna come out from above this tray and it's gonna rest over here, so we just need to have this out. So let me go ahead and grab these panels over here. And then once it's in there, you're gonna use a screwdriver to secure it. Can you borrow the screwdriver? So now this is secure in here. Let's go ahead and do the same to the other side. Okay, it's not going in. So lift this up. You may need to jiggle it around. And then once it's in, go ahead and tighten. Nope, it came loose, so try it again. There you go. That's secure. Now you can secure this piece down, and then we'll use the rubber tray. Put this back on with the USB on top.
go.